So I want you to picture something for a second. You're stepping out of like a sudden downpour, right? And you walk into this ultra high-end Milanese boutique.
Oh, I love this analogy already.
Right. It's just the lighting is perfectly curated. It's warm. The air smells, subtly of this expensive espresso.
Yeah.
And they immediately invite you to just sink into this plush velvet chair next to a really low chic designer table.
It's an entire space just literally designed to lower your heart rate.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
calming. But now, okay, rewind that tape. Step out of the rain again. But this time, you're walking into the lobby of like a cutting-edge tech startup.
Completely different vibe.
Totally. Flooded with natural light, vibrant colors just popping everywhere. You've got these interactive smart screens embedded in the walls, and the whole space just kind of hums with this hyper-connected digital energy.
Yeah, both spaces are incredibly appealing, but I mean, they are speaking to two wildly different parts of your brain.
And that is exactly what we're getting into today. Because our mission on this deep dive is to kind of just cut straight through the marketing noise of the European compact electric vehicle market.
Which is so needed right now, honestly.
It really is. We've got this massive stack of sources in front of us. We're
Yeah.
talking technical reports. We have the 2026 pricing data for the Italian market and all these in-depth automotive engineering breakdowns.
Yeah, and we're going to use all of that to give you an honest, completely hype-free comparison of two of the most anticipated compact EVs out there right now.
Right. The Lancia Ypsilon III and the Renault 5 E-Tech Electric. Because, we want to give you the actual usable information you need to figure out which of these cars actually deserves your attention and, well, more importantly, your money.
Exactly. Because, I mean, on paper, Lancia and Renault are hunting for the exact same buyer with these cars.
But they want that chic urban demographic.
Yeah, if you take a walk through, say, the Triangle d'Or in Paris or the Brera district in Milan, these are the exact cars they want parked outside the cafes. But the industrial strategies they're using to capture that style-conscious buyer.
Well, they are miles apart, like totally different planets.
Yeah.
So before we even pop the hood and look at battery chemistry or anything, we really have to talk about the skin of these cars.
The emotional appeal.
Yeah, the immediate emotional appeal. Because in this B segment, the compact city car market, the design and the interior feel are basically the entire justification for the premium price tag.
It's so true. Because automakers know that in the electric era, silent, smooth acceleration is just, well, it's commodity now.
Right. Every EV is quiet. Every EV is smooth.
Exactly. You can't sell a car purely on engine noise or like a smooth transmission anymore. So the battleground has completely shifted to cabin livability.
And Lancia is leaning incredibly hard into this. They call it a city car premium approach. Like on the exterior of the Ypsilon, they have this very distinct T-shaped light graphic that spans the whole front grille.
Which really makes it look wider, right? More planted on the road.
Yeah, it gives it a lot of presence for a small car. And then the back of the car has these round, kind of protruding rear lights, which, our sources point out, is a direct visual homage to the legendary Lancia Stratos rally car.
Oh, wow. Yeah, a nod to the heritage.
I mean, I love a good rally callback. But the inside is where they were taking some really massive risks. They call the interior concept a salato.
A salato, so literally a living room.
Literally a living room. And smack in the middle of the dashboard is the tavolino.
Okay, the tavolino. Explain that for the listener because it's wild.
It is wild. It's a circular tray. Essentially, it's a small coffee table built into the dash that acts as an induction charger for your phone.
A coffee table in a car.
Right. And honestly, looking at the design diagrams from our sources, a coffee table in a car feels a bit like originality, just for the sake of it. I mean, a normal charging slot would take up half the space.
Well, yeah, the tavolino is definitely polarizing, but it is central to their whole SILA system. That stands for Sound Air Light Augmentation.
Right.
Because Lancia wants the driver to feel anchored in this curated domestic space rather than, feeling like you're operating a machine.
Yeah, they want that boutique furniture vibe.
Exactly. But the detail in the reports that highlights their biggest gamble, I think, is the upholstery. Because for decades, the defining feature of a premium Lancia was blue Alcantara.
Right, that was their signature, like Connolly leather in a British luxury car.
Yes. But for the Ypsilon, they discarded the Alcantara entirely. They swapped it out for a warm, ribbed velvet.
Velvet. I mean, velvet in a car sounds like a total nightmare to keep clean if you, spill your morning coffee.
Oh, absolutely.
But it definitely commits to that Milanese living room vibe. Now, contrast that with Renault's strategy, because Renault is going for what the sources actually call A myth reborn.
Myth reborn. I like that.
It's pure nostalgia futurism.
Yeah.
I mean, Renault essentially invented the premium chic city car market back in the 90s with the Clio Baccara.
Yeah, they did. And they are absolutely attempting to catch lightning in a bottle twice here
Yeah.
because they basically took the iconic, boxy 1970s silhouette of the original R5 and they just injected it with native digital life.
The trim that really caught my eye in the data is the Roland Garros edition.
Oh, the tennis one.
Yeah, they partnered with the French Open. So the car has these clay cork colored mats, textured fabrics, and the tech is totally front center. It runs on the OpenR Link system with native Google integration.
Which is huge because you aren't just like pairing your phone via Bluetooth. The car itself is the smart device.
Right, it has Google Maps and everything built right in. Renault is completely prioritizing a digital-first interface. They want the vehicle to feel like a seamless extension of your smart home ecosystem.
Yeah, but okay, for all the talk of ribbed velvet and native Google apps, we really need to point out that both manufacturers made some glaring functional compromises to achieve these designs.
Oh, for sure. Let's do a reality check here, because the practical flaws are impossible to ignore if you're actually going to buy one. First off, neither of these cars offers a frunk.
No front trunk at all.
None. And if you own an EV, or if you're thinking about buying one, you know how annoying it is to dig a muddy charging cable out from underneath your groceries in the back?
It's the worst.
It really is. Furthermore, when you fold the rear seats down in either car, you don't get a flat-loading floor.
No, you get this massive step.
A huge step. And both suffer from incredibly high rear-loading sills, meaning you have to lift heavy cargo, like unusually high, just to clear the back bumper.
Yeah, it's a textbook case of form dictating function. The designers definitely won the battle over the pragmatists on both sides.
They really did. But wait, if we look past the skin for a second, there is a glaring contradiction in the physical dimensions that we need to talk about.
Oh, the interior space paradox.
Yes, because the data shows the Lancia Ypsilon is roughly 15 centimeters longer than the Renault 5. Yet, every automotive review we sourced states the Lancia actually has significantly worse legroom for rear passengers.
Which sounds impossible, right?
It does. How does a physically longer car have less space inside?
Well, the answer lies beneath those velvet seats in what we in the industry call the platform. The platform is basically the hidden mechanical skeleton of the car. It's the chassis, the crash structures, the suspension mounting points.
So it's kind of like buying a luxury condo, paying top dollar for like Italian marble countertops, and then realizing the developer used the exact same plumbing, wiring, and load-bearing walls as the budget apartment complex down the street.
That is a perfect analogy, yes.
So as a buyer, what are the telltale signs that my expensive Italian boutique car is hiding a different car underneath? How do you even spot that?
Well, you have to look at the hard points. In automotive manufacturing, stamping large metal panels and engineering crash safety structures costs literal billions.
Right.
So to save money, car companies within a massive conglomerate like Stellantis, which owns Lancia, will share those hard points across multiple brands.
Okay, so what am I looking for exactly?
Look at the side mirrors, look at the slope of the windshield glass, or the exact curvature of the door frames, or even the distance between the front wheel arch and the driver's door. Those are the hard points.
Okay, so underneath the Lancia Ypsilon, what are we actually looking at?
The Ypsilon is built on the Stellantis ECMP platform, and crucially, this is a multi-energy platform.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning it was engineered to accommodate traditional gas engines, hybrid systems, and fully electric drivetrains all on the same skeleton.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it relies on a massive corporate organ bank. It shares its structural hardpoints directly with the Peugeot 208.
Oh, wow. So because Lancia utilized the Peugeot 208 skeleton to save on engineering costs, they basically inherited every single one of the Peugeot's physical limitations.
Down to the millimeter. And the Peugeot 208 is kind of notorious for its narrow rear door openings and pretty cramped rear passenger space.
Right, because the platform originally had to leave space for a gas tank and an exhaust tunnel down the middle.
Exactly. So the batteries are just crammed wherever they can fit. And the driver is forced into a very traditional, snug, low-slung cockpit. Honestly, if you are over 1.60 meters, your knees will likely be pressing into the back of the front seat.
That's crazy. But wait, the car is longer. Where did those extra 15 centimeters go, if not to the passengers?
The rear overhang. Lancia extended the back end to offer superior cargo volume. The Ypsilon boasts 309 liters of trunk space.
Okay, so that is a significant advantage if you regularly carry luggage.
It is, it's a trade-off. Lancia sacrifices passenger comfort for luggage capacity and a more traditional driving position.
Got it. Okay, so how did Renault solve this physics problem in a car that is physically shorter?
Well, Renault took a massive financial gamble. They developed the Amphar small platform. And unlike the Lancia, this architecture is exclusively dedicated to electric vehicles.
So no gas tank considerations at all.
None. There are no compromises made for a combustion engine, no transmission tunnel, no wasted space.
Meaning they could design the entire chassis around a flat battery pack right in the floor.
Precisely. And integrating the battery directly into the floor pan creates what French engineers call a surélevé, or a raised floor.
And that completely changes the geometry of how a human sits in the car, right?
Really?
Because instead of stretching your legs out forward like you would in a sports car,
Huh.
a raised floor forces you to sit more upright, almost like you're sitting in a dining chair rather than a lounge chair.
Exactly. And that vertical seating position saves a massive amount of horizontal space. And because they didn't need an engine bay up front, Renault pushed the wheels to the absolute extreme corners of the chassis.
Oh, which opens up the inside.
Yes, the result is a cabin that feels remarkably open. The reports actually describe it as having a veranda-like brightness.
Veranda-like, I like that.
Yeah, you gain substantial rear headroom, and it is far easier to step in and out of the back seats despite the vehicle's shorter overall footprint.
But there's always a trade-off. The obvious trade-off is that pushing the wheels to the back corners eats into the trunk. The Renault drops to 277 liters of cargo space.
Right. You essentially lose enough room for a standard airplane carry-on bag compared to the Lancia.
So it's basically a zero-sum game of packaging. Trunk space with the Lancia or passenger comfort with Renault.
Yeah, and it highlights a broader industry divide, honestly. You have Lancia's pragmatic use of an existing flexible architecture versus Renault's total optimization for an electric-only future.
Which brings us perfectly to what powers these platforms. Because, the skeleton doesn't just dictate your legroom, it limits what kind of electric heartbeat the car can actually have.
Very true.
So let's look at the motors and the grid connectivity. Just to set a baseline of fairness here, our data shows these cars are basically tied in raw efficiency.
Yeah, they are practically identical on everyday metrics. Both vehicles consume around 14.3 to 14.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers on the WLTP cycle.
Which is the standard European testing metric.
Exactly.
And they both use a 400-volt architecture. Now, for anyone who, glazes over when they hear voltage numbers, is 400 volts impressive, or is that just industry standard now?
It's pretty much the baseline standard for this segment. It basically means both cars max out at a DC fast charging rate of around 100 kilowatts.
Okay, so in practical terms.
In practical terms, if you pull up to a highway charger, both cars will take roughly 30 minutes to charge from 20% to 80%.
So on a road trip, you really won't notice a difference in charging time.
Not at all.
Okay, so the performance metrics are a tie. But the underlying engineering is a totally different story. Let's talk about Lancia's motor first. Sources refer to it as this, like reliable workhorse.
Yeah, Lancia uses a 156 horsepower permanent magnet synchronous motor.
Okay.
This is an incredibly mature, refined piece of engineering. It's utilized across millions of Stellantis vehicles. The power inverter and the thermal management are highly optimized, making it exceptionally reliable.
But, and this is a big but, the phrase permanent magnet carries a lot of invisible baggage, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Because magnets that strong require rare earth materials, like neodymium. And from a supply chain perspective, that means you are wholly dependent on, geopolitically sensitive regions to source your raw materials.
Exactly. And mining rare earths is also incredibly resource intensive and environmentally taxing, which, kind of undercuts the whole green messaging of driving an EV in the first place.
Right. But Renault completely sidestepped that issue.
They did.
They use a 150 horsepower motor, but it's a synchronous wound rotor motor. I mean, that sounds like a part for a heavy-duty washing machine.
It does, right.
Explain the physics here. How do you build an electric motor without permanent magnets?
It is honestly a brilliant piece of mechanical engineering. So in a permanent magnet motor, the rotor, which is the part that spins, is embedded with those rare earth magnets that are inherently constantly magnetic.
Okay.
Renault ditched the magnets entirely. Instead, they take the rotor and they wrap it in hundreds of meters of tightly coiled copper wire.
So they are essentially creating an electromagnet.
Exactly.
They run an electric current from the car's battery through that copper wire to generate the magnetic field on demand.
That is the exact mechanism. By energizing those copper windings, they create the magnetic force needed to spin the motor. Now, it requires a much more complex power inverter to manage that electrical current perfectly.
But the payoff is massive,
Huge. It completely removes rare earth elements from the motor's construction.
which insulates Renault from global raw material price shocks, and of course gives the car a much cleaner environmental footprint.
It's a huge strategic advantage.
It really is. But the tech that really caught my attention in the sources is Renault's grid connectivity. They are introducing V2G and V2L technology.
Yeah, this is where it gets really futuristic. So V2L stands for vehicle to load. That's becoming a bit more common now. It basically means there is a standard household outlet in the car.
So you can just plug in a laptop, a coffee maker, or camping gear directly into the car's battery.
Right. Handy, for sure. But V2G is the real paradigm shift.
V2G is vehicle to grid.
Yes. The Renault 5 features bidirectional charging hardware, so it doesn't just act as a sponge, pulling electricity from your house to charge the battery. It can actually function as an integrated home battery system.
Meaning, okay, if my local power company charges me sky-high rates at 6 p.m. when everyone is home cooking dinner, the Renault can actually push electricity backward, powering my house during those peak hours.
Exactly.
And then it just waits until 2 a.m. when electricity is dirt cheap to recharge itself for my morning commute.
It can do exactly that. And depending on your local energy market, it can even sell excess power back to the grid to stabilize local energy spikes.
Wow. So the car ceases to be just a mode of transportation. It becomes this active, revenue-generating node in your domestic energy network.
Yeah, it's wild.
And Lancia is counter to this.
Well, Lancia does not offer bidirectional charging. They are adhering strictly to the traditional paradigm. You plug the car in, it takes power, you drive it.
Right.
It's simple, it's proven, but it entirely misses out on that future-proof smart grid integration.
Okay, so we have Lancia offering this tactile, beautifully crafted interior sitting on a flexible, traditional chassis with rock-solid conventional mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Renault offering a tech-forward, rare earth-free motor sitting on a dedicated EV platform that can literally power your house.
That's the landscape, yeah.
Which brings us to the ultimate question for you, the listener, the wallet reality. How do these two distinct philosophies actually impact your bank account?
Right, because looking at the pricing structure for the Italian market reveals two completely divergent business models. Lancia is definitely playing a high-margin, premium prestige game.
And the numbers back that up. I mean, Lancia's base model starts at $35,400, and if you want the high-performance 280 horsepower HF Sports version, the sticker price climbs to $43,300.
Which is a remarkably steep entry point for a compact city car.
It really is.
But it's a psychological pricing strategy. Lancia keeps the official retail price high to protect the brand's luxury aura. However, the market analysis shows they rely heavily on aggressive financing structures. Yeah, they work with financial arms like Leases or Findomestic to quietly subsidize the purchase.
So you walk into the dealership, you see a $35,000 price tag, and you feel like you're buying this premium exclusive product, but then the dealer runs a promotional financing campaign that effectively slashes the real-world cost by, like, $6,000 over the life of the lease.
Exactly. It allows them to maintain that illusion of exclusivity while keeping the monthly payments competitive enough to actually move the inventory.
That is sneaky.
It's smart. But Renault is taking the exact opposite approach. They are hunting for pure volume and mass market dominance.
Yeah, Renault's price list is incredibly granular. You can buy into a base model Renault 5, which uses a smaller 95 horsepower motor and a 40 kilowatt hour battery for just 24,900 baht.
Yep.
And even if you stuck it out to the absolute top tier, like the fully loaded Roland Garros trim with the larger battery, it caps out at 37,891.
Right, so Renault's absolute flagship model costs only slightly more than Lancia's bare-bones entry model. But the sticker price isn't the whole story. Because the macroeconomic reality of European state incentives delivers a brutal blow to Lancia's competitiveness here.
This is where understanding localized supply chains really pays off. Because look, both of these cars undergo final assembly in Europe. But the new wave of state incentives doesn't just care where the doors were bolted on.
No, they don't.
They track the origin of the raw materials inside the battery to protect European manufacturing from foreign dominance.
And this is huge, because Renault localized the entirety of its battery production, from the cell chemistry all the way up to the final pack assembly within European
You
borders,
think?
meaning the Renault 5 qualifies for the maximum tier of state incentives. In France, this is the CEE bonus, and Italy has similar MAA-PNRR environmental credits.
And the financial impact of that localized supply chain is staggering. I mean, those government incentives shave over 4,800 euro off the effective purchase price of the Renault. And for certain lower income tax brackets, that discount scales even higher.
Right. And Lancia's battery supply chain does not meet those strict localization metrics.
So they miss out.
They miss out entirely on that specific battery bonus.
Ouch.
Yeah, the economic gap becomes an absolute chasm. Not only does the Renault start roughly 10,000 cheaper at the base level, but the government effectively hands the buyer an additional 4,800 discount simply for choosing the car with the European-made battery.
I mean, that is the defining economic factor right there. So let's synthesize all of this so you can actually make an informed choice.
Let's do it.
If you value a refined, tactile Italian boutique experience, if you prefer the enveloping comfort of ribbed velvet seats,
Hmm.
and you want mature, proven mechanics without really caring about grid integration, the Lancia Ypsilon is the elegant, pragmatic choice. Just ensure you are actively negotiating those financing discounts at the dealer.
Definitely. But conversely, if you want a forward-thinking, environmentally conscious technological hub, if you prioritize maximum interior space, and you want to capitalize on heavy government incentives, the Renault 5 is unequivocally the strategic winner.
It really just boils down to which room you want to live in, the timeless Milanese lounge, or the digital startup hub.
Exactly.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Your time is really valuable, and we appreciate you trusting us to help you cut through the marketing noise.
Yeah, the automotive landscape is shifting faster than ever, and understanding the engineering underneath the sheet metal is really the only way to navigate it.
Absolutely. But before we go, we do want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. Because as we plunge deeper into this electric age, the actual mechanics of driving are becoming standardized. Electric cars will soon just be everyday commodities.
Right?
When that happens, think about how the secondary market will value these cars in 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Will a used EV be valued like a piece of classic, well-crafted Italian furniture that holds its worth because of its timeless aesthetic design? Or will it depreciate exactly like a 10-year-old smartphone, practically worthless the moment its charging tech and digital interfaces become obsolete?